you released a new album, 666, on which you collaborated with a lot of Polish artists, such as Slon, DJ Soina, and Professor Smoke.
Yes.
And you have a big fan base in Poland.
Yes.
Were those collaborations sort of like on purpose in that sense, or did they just happen organically?
Well, to be honest, actually, my girlfriend, she was the one that told me, kept telling me, like, there's this one rapper in Poland called Swan. You have to work with him because he just clicks with you guys so naturally. So I didn't know back then, you know, who he was. So my girl started playing some songs to me. So I was like, okay, this definitely, I can't understand the language, but I could definitely feel the connection. So from there, it kind of like was just hanging in the air, you know, it was like in the ether, but it didn't really.
He came to visit us at a show once also, sort of as an extension of that.
Because then he came to visit us at a show in Poland, and that's when he was like, I would like to work together with you guys. So we were like, I was like right away, like, I mean, you know, my girl always talks about you, so I mean, naturally, I think it would be a good click, you know. So from there, it just somehow happened, and
yeah, and it's obvious, you know, the motherfucker got his scene on lock, you know, so it's like, it's an official artist to fuck with, you know. I mean, you can obviously have any horrorcore artist approach you like, hey man, I want to work with you, but it has to be legit. And I think the Brain Dead family's brand and their music and Swan in general, you know, they're a dope family, and they get busy. So and to add to what you said, it's not like the 666 tape is a collaboration with multiple Polish artists. It's actually a project with Swan and Professor Smoke, and those happen to be on it, you know, but just to be clear. Yep.
So it's sort of like organically just fed off the vibe, and then.
Yeah, man, we hung a couple times. We made some music in the studio together. Exactly.
That's when it really grew. Yeah, exactly.
That's very true. Yeah, you could tell them the story how you sort of got Swan popping.
Shit, man. Okay, cool. Well, we were at hip hop camp last year, and we were partying at our hotel after the shows and stuff. And I had this track I made with Skits, which turned out to be Make 'Em Bleed.
Yeah, it was.
And it was just Skits' verse, and we were chilling in our hotel, and I just put on the headphones. I just put it on him, and I said, "Listen to this," classically. And he was there like this, like. And I remember like this vein popping up on his head, and then he took it off, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Our next track." And he was like, "Oh," that's pretty much how it started.
Because there was talk of doing this shit already, indeed, but you definitely ignited the shit with, you know, bumping that shit for Swan, man. And of course, he went on to produce Ghost Town Strangler and the biggest record, Christmas 2019, which is also about Chubeats. Yeah, man.
That's pretty amazing that you kind of can get a collaboration like that. It's basically fueled off of just a pure connection.
I think that's also rap music, right?
Yeah,
you know, there's
there's
no music, you know, that gets you more into like a cipher, you know, just a beat and a motherfucker spitting, and you'll be like, I'm fucking with this, let's get busy, you know, that's, hell yeah, that's hip hop for you.
Yeah.
I think you've also had like the ability to sort of like reinvent yourself through the years, sort of like similar to David Bowie in a sense.
Oh wow, that's a big compliment.
I just want to know, where do you like gain like inspiration and sort of like to
Well, it's funny
to
you say that.
experience-
Bowie would be one of those for sure.
Yeah,
and I mean
definitely.
more like, not to be corny, like, you know, I check David Bowie every day, and one of these hipster, you know, I'm trying to wear a t-shirt and hang with the rock gods type thing, but definitely on the real tip, you know, our parents used to be heavy into that shit, you know what I mean? Like, so that breeding ground definitely is the soil for, you know, all those sort of alternative ways of looking at music, putting tracks together and that shit. You know, I grew up heavy on English rock and that kind of shit. But to get back to the point, what was it again? The original.
Just where do you get the inspiration?
Yeah, so where do we get it
to
from?
constantly,
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, on a more modern tip, it's especially about not sort of getting put into a box for us, you know? Like, a lot of fans will complain, like, hey, that sounds like some trap, man. But it's like, hip-hop rhythms have always varied from, you know, the more boom bap to the more double time drum. And I think as a rapper, you love the challenge to, you know, fuck with different flows and shit. And that's why when that whole trap wave came, and instead of it being a hype to jump on some trap, it's now the more general sound of hip hop. So why would you not fuck with the new age and be like, this is some dope D.O.D. shit on some trap, you know? But obviously not trying to come with some stupid shit that wouldn't fit us, so I think that's where we draw a lot of inspiration from, trying to always do different music,
Yeah.
No, but I do think because a lot of artists get like trapped in a loop, and then they like have their sound. Once you get your sound, and then you're like, okay, now I have to stick with it, and like your fans will want you to stick to it. But obviously, you as an artist, you want to experiment and you want to grow and just venture in different areas.
No, exactly. I think, as an artist, whatever style you got, I think it's just always important to sort of know where you draw the line of how you would experiment or do something out of the box. But of course, obviously, if you're going to do something that literally alienates your entire fan base from you in the hopes another fan base is going to appreciate that, that's not how shit works. You always got to sort of stick to your guns,
So you're from Groningen, which you like, maybe I didn't pronounce it right, but you like to dub it as Ghost Town. But a lot of like producers are based there, including Noisia, which are on their farewell tour now, and we must say they had like a really good 20 years. And you've also collaborated with them on the sound on the track Rocket, which is like more of a mix. Despite being a mix of dubstep and like hip hop, you have a lot of comments on your YouTube videos in terms of like, I'm a total metalhead, but this shit is lit. Like, it's amazing.
Yes.
And do you have any like fun memories of working with Noisia and how it is to like see that people that are maybe not usually into hip hop, that they respond to your sound, and or maybe you are that artist that are the exception that they still dig.
It's funny because it goes the same as like for the Swan project. We always like kind of work in a musical way, like when it comes to music, we work in a way that's natural to us. And I think as well with Noisia, it wasn't necessarily that we were thinking like, oh, we need to make something that will be equivalent to like metal, like it will be a hip hop equivalent to metal. We were just making something, and always our style was like being hard and being like kind of edgy, But I think once you start actually thinking about like and sitting with a producer, like, okay, we gotta make something like this, it kind of becomes like inorganic. It kind of becomes a little bit fake because you're trying too much to make something. You're looking too much towards one point, like, that's what we need. But we just made, something. We just did us. Yeah. And eventually it just came out that way because it just clicks naturally that way with Noisia as well.
I think also indeed how, musical genres like from all the way to punk rock, metal, hip hop, even hardcore, dung, dung, dung. All those motherfuckers have a certain sort of similar mentality, and vibe to their music. It's strong. It's you want to go wild to the shit. So it makes sense. It caters to those people. And on top of that, I thought of, which is dope to sort of come full circle with that. We always used to also be inspired by the Cypress Hills, the Onyxes, all the edgy, grimy, dark, alternative kind of hip hop, so to speak. It's super hip hop in a way, but I guess to certain people that look at hip hop in one way, it might be a bit alternative even, and often if I was in high school, with like a hippie kind of guy or a rock and roll kind of guy, and I would listen to my hip hop with those people, they would be like, yo, I don't usually fuck with hip hop, but this shit right here. And I think, it's dope to be able to make that kind of rap that opens people up. Because I think any kind of music is dope if you dig into the right place and really open up to it. And I think, like all music, it has watered down shit that just gives the entire genre a bad rep, because people are like, oh, come on, man, those idiots over there, but they don't even know about, the KRS-Ones and whoever the fuck, Yeah. We keeping it alive, baby. Always.
Well, how would you compare the U.S. hip hop scene to the European hip hop scene, and which city in Europe would you say that has the best hip hop scene?
That's hard to say.
Here, because every gas station is called hip hop.
Yeah, we saw it.
Hip hop is alive in Slovenia, baby.
It's on every corner here.
Every gas station in Slovenia.
Every gas station is like a record store. People digging in the crates.
But I think to give you more of a real answer, I think it's not necessarily the word better always kind of bothers me because it's like nothing is better.
Everyone
Things
has their
are just
own
different.
Yeah.
And I think because for example, for somebody maybe in Poland or Slovenia, they have their own act, which of course raps in their language, in their native tongue. So it's much easier for them to become a fan of what he does than maybe to become a fan of, you know, something English speaking. And that's why I think nowadays, especially because it used to be 30 years ago, that the biggest acts that you have in your country are the American acts which come to your country. But now it's different. Now it's like, oh, we got big American acts coming to the festival, but the headliner might be someone from your own country, you know? So I think
it's definitely dope.
that definitely,
yeah,
you know, with the internet and everything, that definitely changed the whole game. And I think it's hard to say necessarily, like, because we used to be like that as humans in Europe. Like, oh, anything that's American is better. But it doesn't always necessarily mean better. I mean, it depends also on what you kind of connect with, you know?
If I would speak, though, from an experience perspective, I gotta say I couldn't tell you exactly because I haven't been, like, in every scene enough to sort of say, like, you know, like, wow, I was there, and to compare them all. But one that I was at, like, randomly, remember when we were in that club in Berlin years back? And we went to, like, this, you know, they were like, you can smoke weed in that club. They only play hip-hop. They got a couple DJs in there. And it literally felt like you were on the set of an old B.I.G. video or something, like Big Papa, with these VIP booths and people throwing their hands up like this when the beats kicked and smoking weed in the club. And that, for me, gave me a very epic impression. Like, okay, I'm going to give it to Berlin. Those motherfuckers got the A-Train kind of vibe. It's like the New York, right, of Europe. I definitely, as far as cultural vibes, really being in them, that was a moment for me. But like I said, I couldn't compare that all around the world because, I mean, everybody, like Jay said, got it popping in their own scene, you know? So, hell yeah. Shout out to Berlin, though.
Well, how have you as an artist seen the transition that has happened in the music industry, going like from physical music to digitalization and now streaming?
I mean, I can be very brief about it as far as the physical aspect being lost. I think it's a big shame, but I think that goes with a lot of things. You know, you see stores, like independent stores are closing down in cities, whether it's clothing or records or comic books or anything. All this shit is digital now. So I was actually, I was sending y'all that video yesterday when I was in our main shopping street. I was on a little run in town, and I was filming all the stores that had come and gone again immediately, you know, like for rent again. And after that, I did a little walk through what is supposed to be our main shopping street popping, and I saw it everywhere, you know. It's sort of becoming this dead indoor internet society, which, I mean, I don't want to sound like a complaining old timer, you know. Progression's good, but as far as you can't really convince me anything being physically lost all the way is a good thing. It's like kids, we used to play computer games as kids, but we also used to play with toys, you know. Now you only have kids on swipe screens.
But come on, like scrolling through fucking Netflix is like depressing sometimes. Remember the video rental, like
it gives you that
shit was so epic. You gotta go there.
Video.
Plus it's the whole energy of you gotta make like one or two choices or whatever. If you were spoiled, you get to choose free videos if you go and make it like a long weekend. But you could like, you go there, you get your popcorn or whatever, you choose one video, you go home, you have to bring it back, so you got to be responsible and shit, you know.
Yeah, and yet with that shit, I feel it's kind of like the same, you know. Like, I mean, it has its good sides and its bad sides, you know. Because, I mean, we can't fucking talk about, it used to be so much better with, you know, video stores, but we're every day on Netflix, you know?
Because they don't exist no more.
Otherwise,
I would
no one wants to go to the video store every day.
No, but I mean...
So that's a good side.
No, but I mean, you know, I mean, in certain ways, I mean, of course, it takes off a little bit of the magic, you know? Like, you used to have, like, oh, an artist is dropping a CD, or a new game is coming out, or a new movie. Oh, I gotta wait until then and then to get it, you know? Yeah. And now it's like, you can just go on fucking torrent downloads and let me get that album. It's gonna be out next week, but I can just download it on the torrent. So that kind of takes off away from the beauty, but at the same time, it kind of gives you very much, you know, like, freedom. It kind of gives you, like, you know, like, I mean, I just want to listen to that right now. I don't feel like going to the fucking store right now and waiting in line and fucking driving there for 30 minutes, you know? You can just go online and get it right now.
Some people are really happy with that.
Nah, but I'm
just not one of those, you know?
Nah, but it's funny because, you know, I've been thinking about that, and I'm also a person that really likes a physical copy of something. For example, games. I always got them physically. But now, you know, we stream a lot and shit. So sometimes like, hey yo, what game we gonna play today? You know,
convenience, of course.
Like,
of course.
let's play the new Uncharted. Oh, you got it? No, I ain't got it.
Yeah,
okay, so what? We going to the store now? We got to stream in 1 hour. Oh fuck, let's just buy it online. You know, bam, download it within 30 minutes.
That's why I was saying, as I started my point, it's progressive. You know, you shouldn't be against the evolution or the betterment of certain conveniences. Sure, but I mean, if I had the ultimate choice, I would love to have both still. You know, just as I was making the point, like we used to play with toys and we used to play computer games. You know, now kids are having less fantasy. You know, they're less. Dependent on their own, they're less on finding out. It's all about just staring at something that passes you by, and everybody knows when you do that shit, you don't really shape character, you don't really shape intelligence. And when it comes to that, and that's why I was about to make the final joke, we're gonna go to a future where we're not even wearing clothes anymore, because we'll just be in virtual reality somewhere, all wearing the same jumpsuits. Fucking fantasizing over what we feel like doing most of that day, being fed by a tube, you know? Exactly. Trust me, Black Mirror boy. I see the interviewee looking like, sheesh, that is... But I obviously, it's not going to happen soon, but...
It's going it's going fast, though.
I think that's
like
very,
very
much...
Like, look at technology then and where it is now, it's going fast. It's going fast.
It's not completely true, because, you know, I mean, for example, look at the days now compared to 30 years ago. Like, we think that 30 years ago we knew more. But now, I mean, you know, I like knowledge. Somebody asks me something, I Google that shit right away.
Yeah, you can do it with the tube in your mouth also.
Yeah, but I mean, 30 years ago, we couldn't fucking Google something and give you the knowledge right away. No, this is the fact. That what you just said is not true. But, you know, like, I think that it's good and bad at the same time. You know?
But I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying if
so I think it would be a little too short-sighted to just... you know, write off everybody as, they're more lazy and stupid nowadays.
No, it's
the
just
way
the
I
way
see
now.
it, I apply this new technology for myself as well, and it's making me smarter.
Yeah, you could use it to your benefit.
So I think it depends on the person.
I
think it depends on...
But I feel like a whole lot of kids are, you know, not as knowledge hungry as you are, but are more like, scrolling zombies.
Yeah, but still, there's the kids still that are like, you know, approaching us as well. Like, damn, I listen to Slim Shady, I listen to you guys. For me, it's much more about lyrical content. And there's still people nowadays discovering that. Maybe it's less than it used to be 20 years ago, but that's not the point, you know? The point is that these people still exist, and they will always exist. It's the same as like 50 years ago. Like the parents and shit always used to say... I
forgot the question. What were you talking about?
No, but parents used to say, like, you know...
Physicals,
like,
right?
Everybody always says it used to be better, you know? And that's also kind of like a stigma.
Again,
it's not necessarily true.
I wasn't arguing the benefits, you know, of internet, of
at all aspects,
advanced mobile technology. There's a lot of great stuff. The world has gotten a lot safer. Like, I saw some shit, you know, like a while back, you know, and I think I've said this before, but it's a cool story. I'll try to keep it short, but the romanticization of, you know, like old school vibes. Like, I saw Biggie's Block Party where he kicked his first freestyle. And people were like, oh, good old New York, when you used to have the block barbecues in Brooklyn and not everybody was on their screen. And then I saw a comment like, dude, did you know how it was to be out in the Bronx or Brooklyn back in the early 90s or 80s when you had no security camera, no cell phone, no GPS? That was a fucking jungle. And when you think of that, yes, you know, there's a lot more safer options now. Like, oh, some shit's going down. My GPS is here. Help me out. It's all become, you know, a bit, and there's benefits to that too, you know, but I wasn't arguing the fact, the pros. It's just, if you statistically look, I can even speak from experience with young people in my family. Kids do nothing all day but sit like this depressed and are scrolling on a screen. You cannot tell me that is beneficial to the development of what a child is supposed to experience being out there as well. And I'm not saying, you know, the good stuff they can get from it is not good, but I don't know. If it continues, people are going to be very stationary, you know, compared to...
I also see like young kids like reposting a few that I follow, like some sort of weird, depressive, suicidal kind of quotes from pages just for like Insta drama stuff, and then it's like they post it all day. You got so much wise quotes and and this and that, and I'm
mean,
like,
it's retarded.
it's,
you know, the funny thing is, I have family in Africa. I go to Africa, you go back to the roots, you come home, and there's a couple people in your circle, even my age or close to it, that have had beefs over Facebook. I'm like, did you see the guy? No, I haven't spoken to him since. I'm like, are you guys even really fighting? You guys are just playing a war of who can write an essay on why he's right or not. Fuck off. Fucking face to face, bitch.
Yeah,
that's the old school way. See you when I see you. Okay.
Can't hug
Next
it out
question.
on Facebook. Word.
Continuing
That
with
was
this
long
topic.
ass.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
With the rise of social media, it's become easier for artists to do their own promotion through their social media channels, and it's like open up a brand new gateway in terms of engaging and communicating with your fans.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also recently started the Twitch streams,
Yes.
with a combination of music and gaming, and you played like Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn, Star Wars, and I want to know, how has the experience been for you in terms of like sharing your hobbies with your fans, and if the new strategy TFO is based on the person shooter horror game? Which is pretty scary, but pretty dope.
To try to be a lot briefer in answer to all the things I just complained about with, you know, internet and all these modern things, we are actually, you know, the birth of the benefits of that. YouTube, viral, social media, all that shit. You don't need a label, you know, if you have a movement strong enough and the shit snowballs on its own. So I'm all pro that, man. That's what I think of it. I think it's great.
That was also kind of like, I like what you're saying there, because that was also kind of like my point. I think sometimes it's kind of ironic, you know, of course we're dope D.O.D, we're kind of like anti-mainstream, you know, but sometimes I feel it's like ironic, like, yeah, like, oh, there's all this new age shit, you know, like, oh, physical shit used to be way better while we blew up on the internet, you know, like we didn't fucking get the physicals out there when we dropped What Happened. But we got fucking 30 million views suddenly on YouTube, you know? So that's really we are a part of that, you know? And we were kind of like also one of the first ones to actually do that, you know?
I would probably not even be producing if it wasn't for that, because like my big bro, he downloaded Acid with like Bojo illegally.
Yeah,
they introduced it to me. I was like, hey, what's this? It was a program, and
the funny part is, and as we mentioned it, there's a pro and a con to that as well, because as much as true artists, because back in the day it was tough. If you didn't have the label deal, if you didn't have the promotion behind you, if you didn't have the machine, how were you ever going to get your shit out there? It was mostly physical. It was mostly word of mouth. It was mostly visiting radio shows. But apart from the fact there's now the great opportunity for millions of sick artists to go viral overnight and be discovered, there's also the opportunity for a million retards to go viral and, you know, be famous overnight. And that is the annoying part. Like there's very little filter too, you know, which now you've also got that whole viral, I'm hot on Instagram, I have one hit, and you don't even know how to do a live show. You know, like what? You need to go. That goes back to my point about living real life. Sometimes you gotta, you know, do the real shit, and it's not all about your internet picture and your stupid auto-tune track. You know, become a real artist.
Yeah. Plus,
and I'm not hating on auto-tune. If you know how to sing with auto-tune live, that's dope. If you don't sing along to your records.
I don't
get a vocal coach, bitch.
I think auto-tune is bad in general because it takes away a lot of the artistry.
Well, no, I mean, guys like Travis Scott, Future, motherfuckers, Kanye has done it few and far between that actually apply it live.
Yeah, but that's
but I'm trying to say, then you're really using it. If you're just doing it playback style, playing your record live, and you're just mumbling along to it.
But at the same time, I kind of feel like, you know, I mean, we can compare it to, you know, other artists from a while back. Stevie Wonder is one of the, you know, inventors of basically the talk box, you know. Talk box, which is actually auto-tune in the early stage.
But you really need talent to use that.
Yeah, but that's it, you know. I mean, Stevie Wonder didn't only do that. He did that as a part of his whole musical happening, you know.
Sure.
So I think, you know, for sure, you know, I think a real artist would know how to apply auto-tune, at the same time would know how to do it without.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I sometimes just can't listen to Travis Scott and shit, you know, because it's just too much of that shit.
Yeah, Post Malone.
Yeah,
I think Post Malone is actually better than Travis Scott. Because he makes real music.
All respect, you know, to everybody doing their thing, but I know what you mean. Too much of anything is never nice shit.
It's just like so when I hear Travis Scott, I go, I hear those same fucking noises, like, you know, like, okay, I understand rappers have their niche, and it's like, you know, you got your little calling card, you know.
It makes them too lazy. Like autotune, when it fixes you up, it's like
But then again,
for a Busta Biggie, you have to sort of evolve, craft, build your vocal style. But now it's just like in the booth. Hey, you got that auto-tune ready? Get the auto-tune ready. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But then again, I think Travis Scott, he gives one of the best live shows from all the new age trappers.
I fuck with Travis
though. Then when it comes to that, I gotta say like real artists. Because if you fucking give energy like that live, you're just real to me. It doesn't matter what you do, auto-tune or not.
There's definitely a couple auto-tune artists that I won't mention, but that pop up in my mind that annoy me way more than Travis Scott. Let's just keep it at that. Peace.
Well,
I want to talk about your recording process. Like, do you have a lot of room for freestyling, or do you have like a set idea of what you want a track to be like when you go into the studio?
It's pretty open.
Depends on the vibe, I think, because like often when you play beats, like this is it, or sometimes you gotta search for it, but like.
I think it's
always different. That's what makes every song different, I think.
You could categorize it, I guess, as far as the writing goes, between being very specific about a topic and then mostly figuring the hook out first and the title, or just starting to write. I would say that's more freestyle.
Peace.
Yeah, what time is it now?
Bye. We gotta get on in a few minutes, so.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up soon. But I think that's the difference, if you just start writing, I will call that more of a freestyle approach, like we're still figuring out where this track is going. Yeah. If you really figure it out beforehand, that's more like the calculated way of working, Somebody's jerking off in the wall here.
Alright, to wrap it all up, what would be your advice to like up and coming hip hop artists?
Oh, that's always an interesting one, right?
I think, it's always, the cliche works, be yourself, work hard, and, I think it's important to know where you want to go and to know who you are and what you represent. I think if you got these things on lock and you have sort of a clear vision and you know where you want to go in the next 6 to 12 months, I think you're doing very well if you just keep that lane,
Indeed, and work from a space of your instinct and your feeling, and don't try to approach it by thinking, oh, if I do this, these people might like me because of that, or if I try this sound, it might become a hit sooner. I think if you're genuine, whether this it's not about hardcore boom bap rap, or it can be melodic Young Thug kind of music, but whatever it is, like Young Thug, he found his own lane. Now a lot of rappers try to sound like him, and he succeeded because he knew how to do that thing that he practiced real hard on. And whether you like it as a hardcore rap fan or not, the same goes for hardcore rap, for playing guitar, for playing football. You can't just think because you're gonna wear this or because you're gonna talk to this person that you're gonna be bam, that's your ticket into the game. You really gotta come from a genuine place, man, for sure. Keep it real. Peace.
Peace.